Congratulations on season 6. I'm
Whoa,
so excited.
hold on one sec. It's not
Yeah.
saying it's recording or oh wait, yes it is now. Sorry. Go ahead. I just want to make sure you're recording. Sorry, Tessa.
Yeah,
Thank
no, of course. Well, yeah, so congratulations on season 6. I love this series so much, so I'm super excited.
thank
But
you.
this season was so good. I've got to talk to you about the first episode because we
Mhm.
don't take long to get right back to you have this fun adventure and then we're like back at it, right? So is that kind of always the plan for the opening of season 5?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we like to throw them into a crazy situation and then like get back to our show. You know what I mean? It's almost like the Simpsons go to New York. You don't expect them to be in New York the next episode, but starting a season there is a cool way to kick it off. And this season was weird because we also did the Valentine's Day special, which takes place between episodes 1 and 2, where the two leads get married. So like we really wanted to get into honeymoons and marriage stuff. So like getting them back home and getting them reset was like a big priority. But I did like those Clearvixians, Josh. I like that
Yeah.
Zach as the mind freak that they pull in, make me laugh really hard.
Yeah. And I think we've done it a couple times where we set up something into the end of the year and then quickly sort of go back to what we are. And part of it is like, as Mike has always said, we are lovers of TV and movies, and we love sort of tweaking that always. This like how someone sets up something massive at the end of the season, and then the next season they're just back working in the hospital. And so I think that's always sort of something that we like to play with as well.
Sydney, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean, they nailed it on the head. It's a lot of fun this season. And I like how quickly we just revert back.
Mhm.
Yeah, because
a whole new world.
yeah, well, there's even that line where it's like, are we going to discover something in 8 to 10 episodes? And I was like, wait a minute, are they going to stay here the whole season? Like I thought for a second. And then I was like,
Well, that's part of the plan too.
Yeah.
I like pretending that we have like an on-running comic book series that could like fill in the gaps of like all of them living on the other planet. But as the show, we got to get back to business, But I'm glad, yeah, that episode's hilarious, and I like how they end up. I like how they end up going back to Earth at the end, and Terry's the only one being like, maybe I changed my mind.
He's like, I just got used to my nickname.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
Terry.
Terry,
Don't
goddamn it.
I know. We could have had a perfect life.
He's such an angel.
He is. He's so great. I've got to talk to you about Terry's shirts, right? Because I just talked to Thomas and he was saying how, he doesn't know what they're going to be ahead of time. How do you come up with these? I think Taylor's version was my favorite so far. But
we come up with like, we have the writers come up with like 100 shirts, and then we have exactly how many shirts we need each season. So we keep like bringing the list lower and lower. And then my favorite part is when Disney Legal comes in and tells us what shirts we can't do, because they get so fucking naughty sometimes that they're like,
and we try to slide stuff by them. I mean, it's one of those things with the writers are always grumbling about doing it, and then it's the most fun thing.
So fun.
My favorite is still just Dick Wolf in the first season. It was just Dick Wolf.
Straight out of it makes me laugh. Yeah.
I liked. Yeah. No, it's the most fun for us to do.
It's funny,
sure.
Tessa, that question caught us like a day after we just did all the shirts picking for season 6. So like we're fresh in our heads, being like, yeah, and legal hasn't gotten to us yet, so we're still in the afterglow of like, hey, maybe we got away with some of this.
Maybe you got them all.
That, and I know people don't always hear them, but Corvo's rants over the opening titles are the most fun things.
Literally, one of my questions I was going to ask you is, what's a Magugu? Because they're talking about this Magugu that's going to come out.
Listen, the Magugu, you got to be careful about the Magugu. All right? The Magugu is an alien thing, and you just don't.
I think the Magugu is hiding right behind her on her
Magugu.
No, those are so fun. Like, that's what I love about this show. It's like you never skip the intro because you're like, what's it going to be?
Yeah. Well, that's our Bart's chalkboard. That's another we love TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we feel lucky to get to make a show that we have this much freedom to be that silly.
Yeah. Well, I got to ask you guys, one of my favorite episodes was the What If one. That was a good one. This show, I never know where it's going to go.
That's what we love. Animation should do that. Like, when we turn in an outline and even when we're talking to like the art team, they're like, nobody's ever seen this before. And like, we're like, yeah, that's what animation's great about. Like, you want to feel like it's familiar, but then see things you've never thought of before. And man, the network, when we turned in the rough, like the story area for that one, and they were like, it's a what if episode where they never what if, and we were like, yeah. We were like, no, how do you do that? We were like, watch. But yeah, we particularly had a blast with that episode. That episode's really fun.
That was so good. So what would you guys' what if be in your life if you could what if something?
Oh my gosh, what if we could do another 30 seasons of Solar Opposites?
Ooh,
That's-
Oh man, you stole my what if. Mine was going to be what if we did another 30 seasons, but if I'm going to make it personal, it'd be what if I had hair again?
Oh, I want that too. Wait, I want to change my what if.
Too late. Too
Wait,
late.
wait, Josh, hold on. I
I
got a good idea. What if we could have more hair, but we get to take somebody with a full head of hair's hair, so they be bald and we get to have hair?
I will tell you, I am a team player, though. If it was between 30 more seasons and hair, I would take 30 more seasons.
I don't buy that.
You don't buy. I don't believe you. That's great. Sydney, what about for you?
I mean, I was thinking the 30 more seasons as well. It would just be great to keep working on the show as long as possible. It's such a great environment.
You don't want more hair?
I have plenty of hair. I don't
All right,
need
fine.
any more hair.
Well, I got to talk to you guys about The Wall this season too, because I love The Wall. I love how it's become such a special part of the show and how it changes genres every season.
Yeah.
And now we're like have The Wall, but it's really the backyard, right?
Yeah.
So can you talk about doing that and coming up with the different like towns and stuff?
Yeah, we love Westerns. We love post-apocalyptic, like, everybody like Lone Wolf and Cub style stories, right? Like a duo on the road kind of thing. Literally the book The Road, but also everybody else like saw it and loved it too. That feeling you get from The Last of Us, right?
Yes.
And then we wanted to mix in political intrigue and comedy and just all these. We really wanted the backyard to be little city states that were forming on the frontier and tell a story about, people. It was weird. Like the bad guy this year was the idea of capitalism and an economy that like somebody was trying to, instead of being a fascist despot, they're going to be an economic despot. And it's so fun and funny to go from being like, okay, today in this episode, the Solar Opposites realize they can eat their own farts. And then on the other side, the B story of this episode is about how power corrupts.
Yeah.
And it's almost like this will be the least relatable thing in the world, but it's almost like this show is almost like an affogato. It's like taking ice cream and then pouring hot espresso on it, and you get both at the same time, and it's like turns into this like weird mix. You know what I mean? And yeah, we love doing the backyard. The writers love doing it. We always get to cosplay as drama writers. Nobody who works on Solar would ever be given a post-apocalyptic Chinatown that takes place in the West, like unless we're almost like a network that can greenlight our own little mini dramas and then make them ridiculous. It's really fun.
And I like how the artists had a lot of fun with it, just like getting to dive into something new, still Wall, but like still everything tiny, reuse things, but in the backyard. And then at the beginning of the season, Mike and Josh pulled us in so we could map out the whole backyard and where they're going and like plan it all out. So it was really fun to work with.
I mean, Sid is being a little modest. What we asked these artists and designers to do is kind of insane. They created a whole world in The Wall, and they were like, you know what? Let's create another whole world outside in the backyard. Like the work they do is unbelievable. And it only, I mean, like you talked about the What If episode, like, we screened it at Comic-Con and it played so well and it looks incredible. Like, we're very, very lucky.
Tessa, it's really worth saying, like, nobody else on any animated show, especially one like ours, has to, like, the artists don't have to create entire new worlds every season. Like, what we ask of our art team, our board artists, our designers, is to, like, keep it in the look of the show, but, like, really push it every year to things we've never seen before. And not only do they do it, but they, like, give us even more than we asked for. And they're so thoughtful and so funny. And just we're so lucky to have this team. Like, it's a crazy thing to ask, and they fucking reward us for it over and over again.
Amazing. And real quick before I go, was that like a Lonely Island boombox parody that I heard at one point? The boombox song? It sounded very much like it.
Wait, when?
I don't remember. I watched them all back to back to back. Towards the beginning, there's like a song. I can't remember, but I was like, is that like Lonely Island?
I mean, I love the Lonely Island, and our
it sounded like it.
our music is all done by Chris Westlake, who I work with on everything. I'll have to ask him. I mean, you may have caught it before I did, but I love.
Look at that.
Maybe
I'll have to find it, and I'll find out, and I'll find a way to let you know. I'll have to go back through the screeners. So awesome.
Right,
well, thank you guys so much for your time, and like I said, congratulations. I love this show so much, and I can't wait for 30 more seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. And Josh's hair. Thank you.
Yes. Hair.
Let's root
in 30 seasons. Yeah.
Don't forget that. Let's root for that too.
It's important.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye, guys.
It's a cool streamer setup.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time. I love this show so much, and this season was so good. But for you guys, if somebody hasn't seen this, which I think it's crazy if they haven't, what would you say to them to get them to check out Solar Opposites?
Whoa! We just scream at them.
Yeah, do it!
Do it, you cowards! No, it's really got a lot of the things that you know and love. It's got crazy side quests with Wall and Silver Cops and everything. It's got all an escalation of everybody's storylines. You know, like Corvo and Terry are newlyweds, I guess, and exploring that life. I mean, that's kind of the great part about Solar Opposites is it's insane, it's silly, but there aren't a lot of just like resets where the last episode kind of didn't really mean anything. Like it's serialized both in the main story and all the little S stories that it goes along. So there's callbacks aplenty and things progress.
What would you say, Sean?
Well, I definitely stand by that, and I also think that just having just all the sci-fi stuff that comes up, I think it's a really creative writer team that just and they pull from so many pop culture references while also like creating these crazy contraptions and rays and everything that I'm always excited to see what they come up with each week. So I think that's another.
Yeah. What is it like for you guys reading the scripts? Like, because these episodes, I feel like you never know what's actually going to happen, right? Like it could go literally anywhere. So like, do you guys crack up reading these scripts?
Yes, often. It'll always be the stuff that like that I don't expect. I don't know. It'll be something because you say so much wild left field stuff. Like every other line is like, okay, crazy. It'll always be some of the things that get me are always like really the ultra specific deep cut references that they sometimes get in there, or just something that just, I don't know, sounds, I can't remember if it wasn't last season, maybe the season before. Terry's whole love affair with Malcolm Gladwell for some reason really tickled the stuffing out of me. And I thought that was very funny. Every other line, I was like, this is so absurd. But there's plenty of that in this season. I don't mean to get nostalgic, but yeah, I crack up all the time.
Yeah, every once in a while there's like some Chicago stuff in there, and I was kind of I grew up in the area there, and so that cracks me up that it's like to be on a show where that happens too is cool.
Yeah. Thomas, do you ever know what Terry's shirts are going to be ahead of time?
No, there's a lot. There's so many visual gags that happen that I'm totally unaware of until I see it. That's kind of it's kind of the fun thing about animation, right? Is like you don't see it until it's made. You don't see it until after a year or a year and a half or whatever, when all these animators have had their creative influence on it as well. And there's even stuff where, maybe an unscripted moment or something, and you're maybe going off in the booth, and later on they decide, oh, that's funny. And so then you're watching this thing where your little improv got animated too, and you're like, oh, wow, there's so much effort into like realizing my stupid little quip. And they just put that into the show. Great.
I love it. Sean, do you get to improvise a lot too?
I think that there could be opportunity for it. I don't tend to do it because I don't know. Well, I'm not.
Well, you're a classically trained actor and you look down on improv. Just admit it. Be on the record. Say you think improv is dumb.
I think, yeah, I think improv is dumb and needs to be off because it's about the writing. It's about the meditated stuff, and so no improv for me. That's how I roll.
That's great. I love it. No, there's one of my favorite episodes this season was the FOMO episode. Like, I love Yumulak just like taking pictures the whole time. That was so funny. But I've got to ask you guys, like, is there anything you've had like major FOMO about before?
Yes.
I was like, I relate.
I know that feeling. I'm trying to determine if it happens so much, can I identify one thing? Or if it is a general blanket of FOMO on everything. Actually, I do think, if I may be wax poetic about the that the wisdom of aging brings forth is that you get older and you start to care less. So FOMO happened a lot when I was in my 20s and 30s. Now, as soon as I got a 4 in front of me, I'm like, let the kids be kids. God bless them. I'm going to stay indoors. I've got my stories. I've got my Vanderpump Rules. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Shawnee.
Well, that Love Island is pretty popular too. I've never.
Hey, Hulu is the home of Bravo TV. We've been saying that.
This is true.
Yeah, get your Bravo TV fix on Hulu.
That's my FOMO about. There's not enough Bravo.
Your FOMO is not being a contestant on Love Island. You
Maybe
got the body
someday.
for
It's all
it,
going
Sean.
on there.
You've been working out. Don't think we haven't noticed, but you haven't been working out. You've been
It could
lifting, and
happen.
the world can see it.
And it's like Love Island, Love Island. No, I remember seeing some Coachella shots when I was younger, and I was like, people are talking about this, but I never went, and I don't.
You still haven't been?
No, I don't think I don't know. I don't think
Sean, you come on. You got to go in and around a place where there's throngs of people and you can't move, and it's always loud.
It's always
And the
loud.
only conversation you have are with people who are looking at you, and you're like, you're so high right now. And everyone's like, isn't this fun? And you're like, not really. You don't want to do that, buddy?
And you're sweaty, but like also
It's
other
so
people
hot.
sweat. It's
Yeah.
great.
And you realize that you don't have the platinum tier pass or whatever, so you can't actually go down that one way. You have like the silver pass, which you thought was the good one, but it's not. There's another tier.
Whoa,
See?
there's levels.
Brother, there's levels to everything. This
It's
is
a lot.
Hollywood.
It's a lot. Well, also another great episode was the What If episode. I want to ask you guys, that went, again, talk about going away. I never expected. I was like, what is happening? I don't want to ruin it for people, but it was great. So again, another question, if you could pull a what if in your life, would you? And what would it be?
What if? What if? Jeez. Sean, what? Sean, go.
I'm gonna go with. I was always curious. I was really into soccer growing up with my friends.
Oh, baby, we got the same one.
Serious?
Keep going. I want to know if it's the same one.
Well, I was thinking, it's like, what happens if I was like, I really tried out for the soccer team, and I lived that life? Is it this?
Well,
There we
mine's
go.
a little
There
bit
we
more. Mine's a little bit more fantastical because I was part of soccer growing up, and I was not very good. And I played a lot of soccer, and I was never very good. So my what if would be, what if I was a little London lad, and I was very good at soccer, football, and I was very good, and I was, Manchester United at age 18, top scorer in the league, and just to score goals, to be like the top scorer in a professional soccer league like that, like what it must feel like to score some game-winning goal or some extreme, and there's like 100,000 people like, you're like, I'm a god amongst men.
And you're like doing that fast run around the stadium and sliding.
Yeah, sliding on your knees, Ronaldo style. I'm so powerful. It would just be so fun.
Oh, I love it. Well, guys, congratulations on season 6. I'm so excited. Like I said, I love this show. And Thomas, I've got to tell you, I've been doing a rewatch of Silicon Valley, which is one of my favorite shows. So,
ooh, nice.
I know, yeah.
That's a goodie. That one was a true joy. And not that this is not a true joy, but I just like, you get these gigs in life that you're like, that was so special.
It's so
I will
good.
have this. I will have the exact same thing about the Solar Opposites.
Yes.
In 30 years after the final season.
Yes, let's keep them coming.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys.